Hello, this is Dr. Tae, and today's episode is on hibiscus tea. It's one of my favorite teas that I like to get at tea shops. I've given up coffee about more than a year and a half ago now, and when I want a non caffeinated tea, hibiscus is a great tea. Hibiscus, it should get more traction, in my personal opinion. It is a tea that I would recommend for a lot of people to take. Here is a picture of bunch of hibiscus flowers. And if you look, it has a stem and it's got the five leaf design to it. And this picture, this flower happens to be the national flower for Korea. Hibiscus has a lot of nutritional benefits. The ones that we get to drink has a deep red color to it and is similar flavor to cranberries, the tartness. And I want to focus on the sour taste in traditional Chinese medicine, the way we look at it, the qi of the herb. For those who are just tuning in, I have a doctorate in herbology. Herbal medicine has been existed for thousands and thousands of years. And herbal medicine, when it comes to the traditional Chinese perspective, it is based on the taste and temperature of whatever is considered to be edible, and that these taste and temperature has a function with a factor of time. So if you look over here, it is associated with the liver and the spring season, and it's got an astringent function. Basically, if you stick a lemon inside your mouth and you bite down, you get that, you make this sour taste because it's a very pulling feeling. The opposite would be spicy hot, where it makes your mouth open up and start moving around. Sour has a tendency to pull and astringent, just like lemon. And because of that, it stabilizes, it tones, and it helps prevent abnormal fluid leakage. And it can be in case of excessive sweating, mucus, inflammation, and diarrhea. Consuming things that are sour, it helps in this way. However, I will say if you eat excessive amounts, you can have diarrhea as well. Another one is it helps digest minerals, and this is real. So if you were to eat a salad and you squeeze a lemon into the dark green leafy vegetables, it makes the minerals and the calcium become more bioavailable. It helps break it down. Sour also helps with the concentration and focus. If your mind is scattered, it pulls and is strained to one focus. And the alertness and things like that. And of course, it helps with digestive issues. And that's what I really want to focus on today. Here is a study on hibiscus tea, on the cardiovascular disease risk factors, a systemic review, and meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials. Meta-analysis is a overview, oftentimes from the beginning of a study and where it's at right now. Compare that to a longitudinal study. Longitudinal studies is a long study of a particular group of people and you follow them for a long time. A meta-analysis is the type of study that looks at all of the studies. So oftentimes a meta-analysis is done by many people looking at, for example, some people divide up the meta-analysis from one particular effect of an herb or a specific compound for a specific reason. Or some people look at okay, I'm going to take care of what was going on in the 1980s. You look at all the data from 1990s and you look at the data of 2000s, and we come up with a report and then we review it together as a group. So meta-analysis is I think a very good way to look at the overview. And according to this meta-analysis of randomized clinical trials, shows although no significant effect was observed in triacylglycerol, total cholesterol, and high-density lipoproteins following RT consumption, trend toward a significant reduction was found in low-density lipoprotein cholesterol serum concentrations. And the p-value is 0.08. So it's a fairly low number based on this. When the p-value is 1, it's absolutely true. The systemic review and meta-analysis suggests that sour tea consumption could have beneficial effect in controlling glycemic status and blood pressure among adult population. So I would say the p-value is fairly low. However, it points towards the right direction. And the hibiscus can be used as a home remedy for diabetes and hypercholesterolemia. This means that in the blood, there's high levels of cholesterol in the blood flow, and a lipid disorder that causes high levels of low density lipoproteins, or AKA bad cholesterol, in the blood. And according to this study, data were critically analyzed to assess whether the effective dosages of research studies on a par with doses present in Hibiscus. We found 39 journals articles fulfilled the criteria. And basically, what it did was that it had an anti-diabetic effect, meaning it had an effect on sugar levels. It also had anti-inflammatory effects, anti-hypercholesterolemic effects in its phytochemicals. And the review revealed that dose of hibiscus petals present in homemade hibiscus tea is theoretically sufficient to elicit an anti-hyperglycemic and anti-hyperlipidemic levels. Homemade hibiscus tea is effective controlling diabetes and hypercholesterolemia without causing acute toxicity. So they compare the data to the dosages. This is the key takeaway. What you would get out in stores is enough to have that effect. Now, another study over here, fasting blood sugar levels. So fasting blood sugar normal levels is that fasting blood sugar levels are measured in several hours after eating, and this gives more accurate view of a person's glucose levels in most cases. Fasting blood sugar levels should be below 5.7, and people who drank tea lowered this part. So in that sense, it's really good for people who have what they call metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome are people who have high fat content and high sugar content in their body, which is, I would say, the number one killer or the number one pathway towards heart disease, which is the number one killer in the country. It is more than stroke, cancer, everything. So, having said that, hibiscus tea having a profound effect on sugar and helping get rid of bad LDL levels in your body, this would be a tea that I would recommend everyone to drink because the toxic levels are very, very low. And knowing the fact that it will give you some sort of a cleanse to bring the sugar levels down. So, like after eating a fatty meal or something eating sugary, this would be a great tea. I am totally against the culture of eating cakes after eating like a steak dinner, and I see this happening all the time. I'm part of this culture where people just like, oh, we go eat out and eat, and then like you got to end something with something sweet. And like I usually keep my mouth shut at restaurants because I don't want to be that guy saying, we shouldn't do certain things. However, when I'm hosting food for people, I don't serve it in that fashion. So if I was to host people to have food after eating a good meal that is like, like a steak and things like that, and you eat a lot of vegetables with it, with low carbs, yeah, hibiscus tea is something that I would serve right afterward just to help ease the digestion. Being a sour taste, it just helps breaks the food down just a little bit more, the acidic content. All right, everybody, having said that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.